Hey, what's up, patrons? I thought I would do a video today talking about what I have been working on as far as the new year and share with you some of the things I've come up with that I'm going to do to make some changes in my life and how I came up with that process. So I spent this last week of this last week, the first week of 2016, basically in what I call a housekeeping or maintenance mode. I did a video on this a little bit, so I'm not going to go into all the details there. But what I did, one of the exercises I did, which I thought was pretty useful, I just came up with this on my own. I was just trying to think of how can I like make improvements to my system, my process, my 2017 year by looking at the previous year. So what I did was I asked myself a bunch of questions, basically questions like what do I want my days to look like? What do I want my life to look like? And I actually wrote out the answers to these, right? Typed out the answers to these. What what were some of the best things that happened, or what did I enjoy the most in 2016? What did I dislike the most? What was the most effective thing that I did? The least effective thing that I did? Some of those. What are my current strengths as I assess them? What are my current weaknesses? And what are my big like bucket list goals for life? And from that, what I did was I basically came up with what you see here, which is a set of, I've got these printed out and posted on my wall, a set of guidelines and philosophy, a schedule, some rules, and when to check stats. That's you'll see why I did that, but that seems like the oddball there. But anyway, so what I did was what I found was that I had a couple of different weaknesses that were hurting me, and I had some strengths that were helping me, and so I wanted to kind of capture the kind of changes that I wanted to make. So I sort of started with, first of all, what kind of schedule, because how you live one day is how you live every day, right? I did a video on that a while back, but I believe that that's true. So I wanted to start with a good schedule. So what I did was, one of the things that was really good for me last year was when I started waking up at 6:30 a.m. every day, which I know some of you are like, that's not early. Well, it was for me when I was used to waking up whenever I woke up, but having that committed schedule, right? And that allowed my bedtime to be about 10:30 so I can get my full sleep. And then so what I wanted to do was I wanted to start doing meditation. So I put it right into my schedule. So I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes. The reading, I was finding that I was having some trouble reading some of the physical or Kindle books that I wanted to read. So I wanted to incorporate that into here. And I also have a devotional, a Stoic daily meditations that I wanted to read. So I put that into there. And then I've got this new journal that I have here that I'm going to experiment with. But I wanted to do a journal and plan the day out. And then one thing I wanted to do was I kept on talking about last year, spending some time to play some games or do something like that. And I did a little bit over the Christmas vacation, but there's always something that comes up. Never have enough time to do it, right? And so one of the things that I'm trying to implement is I'm going to try and limit the amount of work that I do to 8 Pomodoros, basically 4 hours of main work every day, so that I'll have to only work out what's really important and not waste time, which was one of the things I experimented with the waking up early and driving pretty hard there. And then the other piece of this is to spend 1 hour playing, a day, like playing a video game or something like that, and make that a minimum. So I'm making this a max and making this a min. And then I have email, of course, in here, and then some personal tasks to make sure I can make progress on these things that need to be done every day. I've got my workouts that I had, some evening time with my daughter, and then doing a date night, and then recording videos, 2 videos a day. So that's sort of my schedule. That's kind of incorporates all the things that I wanted to make sure that I have in my life. And I found that I need to actually schedule, need to actually spend more time recreational in order to keep my mind fresh and to keep me going. And I really started thinking about my life as more of a marathon than a sprint. At least that's kind of the theme for 2017. So with that, I came up with some guidelines and philosophy just from looking at my list of my strengths and weaknesses, the kind of things that that I need to remind myself. And I'll change this from time to time, but one of them is time is only wasted when you don't do what you intend. This is one of those things where I was doing a lot of checking stats. That was one of my weaknesses. That's why you'll see that there's a whole page dedicated to this. That was wasting my time and my emotional energy. And so I was never intending to check stats. So now I have a very explicit time that I'm going to check stats and do certain things. again, that's why I said only check stats when you're scheduled to do it, right? Don't check Facebook, don't check Twitter, don't check email, none of that stuff, and no YouTube comments, any of that. Then if you're afraid to do it, you must do it. This is a theme that I had last year, but I want to continue that one because I feel like I sort of backed off of that towards the end of the year, but I need to do that even more, be a little bit more bold, just go out there because I want to reach that level of complete inhibition freedom where I really don't care what other people think. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. Genuine, always genuine. I'd remind myself because I started slipping, I think, with my YouTube videos and trying to produce the content that I wanted to produce, not the content that was genuine, that was coming at me towards the end of the year. Most of the year, I was actually really good at doing this. No apologies, excuses, or explanations. I started doing a lot of this. I started noticing that I was doing this. I'm not sure why, but I think part of it is because of getting too much feedback from comments from YouTube. So I'm trying to ignore feedback more by checking it less and just saying, no, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to excuse. I'm not going to explain. If you don't like my shit, that's fine. It's cool. We're good, but don't watch it. Unsubscribe. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to explain it to you if you're a hater. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, not everyone's going to like everything. So. Do you get to do this? You don't have to. Again, I'm living the dream. I'm living the life. I got to remember that every day. One of my strengths was hiring people. I'm really good at hiring people. So I need to do more of hiring people to do what I don't want to do. It's also one of the best things that I did. One of the most enjoyable things I did that benefited me the most effective thing that I did is I'm good at that. I'm good at picking the right people out and going through that process. Keep it simple. I have to remind myself, obviously, this is a simple programmer. I can make things too complicated, but when things are simple, I feel good, right? When I have less stuff, when I've got less clutter, when I've got less things in my inbox and all, when I just keep it simple, I feel better and make it fun. Like, I should be having fun. This is fun. I'm living life. Again, this is a dream, right? This is fun stuff, right? I can make this video and I can have a lot of fun doing it. Or I can say, oh, I got to make a damn video today. This is what could be better than this, honestly, right? So that's kind of that. And then I came up with these rules. Don't check the phone when waking up. I actually took all the apps off of my phone. All of the social media apps, took my email off of my phone. I am not using my phone for that, just for instant message stuff that if someone needs to text me or something like that. But other than that, none of that. No email until first important task of the day. So even when I schedule my email, I'm going to wait. No Slack, no getting in the chat room to first tasks of the day, so I don't get other people's emergencies, right? They really, really need me, they can text me or call me. Always plan before doing. This one is hard again. It's easy to get in front of that computer and start doing, and I was getting rushed. I feel like I was in a rush a lot of times. If I plan before doing, I'm never in a rush. And if I take the time to replan. Facebook, Twitter, check once per day. Some of this is kind of repetitive. No social media apps, no email on the phone, no checking stats, no eating without a plan. This was one of those things that's really screwed me up on the diet wise. I got really lean, okay, and then I started to gain it back a little bit, or not gain it back, but I didn't quite make the progress I wanted to in November and December, and it was because most of the time I was on par. But a few times when I would go off the rails a little bit, it would just be like I just didn't have a plan. If I had a plan, I would have been better. And then I created this rule for when to check stats, and it's pretty strict here. Only doing the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter once a week. We'll see in the income reports on Simple Programmer. Anyway, that's it. I don't want to, belabor this, but I just wanted to share that with you. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do exactly what I did, but it may be useful to you to look back at 2016, to make lists of your current strengths and weaknesses, to see what was effective and what wasn't effective, and what you enjoyed and what you didn't enjoy, and how you'd like to structure your life, and then sort of use all that information to figure out how you can use your strengths to the best, how you can overcome your weaknesses, how you can avoid your weaknesses as much as possible, and how you can structure your 2017 in your schedule so that you're going to be able to capitalize on all those things. Because once I realized all those things, and I realized it's like, yeah, some of the things that you're doing good, John, like hiring people really, really boosted your ability to do more things, to accomplish more things, and being stressed out because you're checking stats and stuff all the time and wasting time. That was one of the worst things. So how can you mitigate both of those things? And so that's where, I incorporated certain things like meditation in the morning, and making sure that I have play time, and we're limiting my work. So I have to hire out in order to get everything thing done. So that's where I'm at, and it's been fun. 2016 was an awesome year. I appreciate all of you joining up on the Patron and especially on the Facebook page and stuff. And I hope that you find this useful, and I hope that you have an awesome 2017. I know I'm going to. All right, take care.